Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever, whenever that you may be tuning in. This is Yonks, and this is yet another pre-launch working group, AI for Real Estate, a peer learning cohort by WeOwn.Academy. And here we have our Google Docs for tonight. And I'm actually going to grab a link here and throw this on the live stream for all my friends if you want to follow along. Link to Google Docs subtab for tonight's agenda. This is a very subtab heavy document. And one of the things that we're going to talk about, let's actually just scroll down real quick here. FELG culture, always going to talk about our FELG culture, fun, earning, learning, and giving. And don't even have anything. This is our templated agenda. But that being said, what all would you like to talk about? And I'm going to kick this over to Tyler for you to start it off, and then we can go around and see if there's anything else that we want to talk about during tonight's working group.
I want to get the email finalized for our distribution. I want to get the presentation finalized. And if we have time, I'd like to get the lock set up and get that going, unless you don't want to do that online.
So about the if you're talking about the unlock, I'm actually kicking that over to a conversation because I'm not exactly sure what want that to look like. I'm thinking that we should do, but again, I'm looking for a little bit of guidance because with this being a 4 month cohort, one of the things that we're doing on the back end is a deliverable, but it's a high degree of probability that we're going to potentially or likely not use the unlocked checkout workflow. And one of the things that I'm going to put on here that I'm going to, and I'll absolutely agree as far as the finalize email and finalize the presentation. And the way that I look, and this is the webinar pitch deck. And do you remember what working group it was that we did this with Plus AI? I think it was looking over here. Here was the prompt for 14, and I think that we revitalized the prompt on working group 15. So I'm fairly certain because we didn't live stream the last two. So it was working group 15 that we did our creation. And this, for those of you that want to see a fabulous tool, this is now the second time that we've used plus.ai or plusai.com to create our Google Slides deck for this webinar presentation. Webinar, let's call it an overview, cohort webinar overview for cohort. And then one of the things I absolutely want to talk about is getting our WeOwn.Academy at using WordPress.org at www.weown.academy. And one of the things that I just installed here before we went live is our WP Launchify. And I don't know if you all remember, but this is a solution that we're going to be using the launch kit here tonight to install some WordPress plugins. Not a WordPress expert. I've been using WordPress for literally decades with not any like traction around any sites. But anyway, those are three things that we've got. And I'm going to kick it over. I see Zippity has an open mic. Would you like to add anything to this here tonight, Zippity?
Just wondering, well, it looks like you guys got some stuff that you're putting together. I'm just curious to see the content's going to get delivered to these folks and how complex it is. That's all.
Yeah, no, that's and let me let's actually just go to, well, I'll do that here real quick. But over to you, I am Lotus. Do you have anything that you would like to add to our agenda for unpacking tonight during our working group?
I think I missed several meetings, so I'll be in the listening mode. Did y'all have a meeting this afternoon? Because I could
We did, but Tyler was in nap mode and I was in like I was like on for about 15 minutes and nobody else joined and I was like, "Hey, working group 17 will be one that we don't live stream that was scheduled and this is like I said before we went live, we get to operate on our own schedule, and that's one of the things that I absolutely love about how that we're building is that we're not beholden to any third party people yet. And this is something that's going to change here pretty quickly because we've been in pre-launch. I mean, this is still a pre-launch conversation, but now this is rubber meets the road. We're asking people to open up their wallet, not a small amount. $500 a month for a lot of people is life-changing money. I will go on the record time and time again and say that that's one of the things that we absolutely intend to architect within our ecosystem is mechanisms that allow our associates, WeOwn associates, pToken associates, on-chain ambassadors, whatever label that you want to put on them, to make an extra $500 a month. And then more importantly, establishing multiple streams of income, because we really believe that that's the key to having true financial freedom is having multiple streams of income and then building towards wealth accumulation. But not going to talk about all of that, but anyway, let me actually hear. I think that we've got some good stuff. Let me bounce over real quick to our weekly schedule because this is important to also understand. Is that we're really looking to get feedback, and one of the tools that we've been talking about, we'll continue to talk about, and those side conversations are even ramping up in the WeOwn dev chat. But I'm gonna give a shout out here, planning to use Harmonica as a facilitation tool, as an AI facilitation tool, AI facilitated conversation tool to receive feedback from our cohort peers. And this is me just typing in chat the message that I'm blasting out. So Harmonica is where, and this is one of the things that we want to get great at, getting feedback on the front side, because this cohort, like going back to our weekly schedule. This isn't a well-refined like content. This is something that we're going to continue to iterate upon as we build it. So this is the kickoff and getting started week one. We're really wanting this to be like the people, we want this to be a solid experience. And this is like talking about our FELG culture. We want it to be fun. If people aren't having fun, I don't think that they'll show up. But we also want to deliver results. Like one of the things that I have said, we'll continue to say, the way that I view AI agents is getting results for people. So workflow automation. This is something that I'm personally looking forward to utilizing. I need workflow automation, and this is one of the things, even not as a real estate professional, with all the things that we're doing, I believe that my abilities to deliver quality stuff is going to get greatly amplified by me personally going through this. Conversational AI and CRM. We've already had some conversations around conversational, like voice AI agents that can automate different aspects. And this is one of the things that we're really looking forward to incorporating in the AI agency model. And let me actually just open up the link tree here for re.box. Let's see, re.box. re.box is the AI agency for real estate that we're going to build as we get feedback for the benefit of the peers in this particular cohort. That's really the biggest benefit that people are going to get. And then we're also going to create, I think, a very compelling new pipeline and new deal flow, the American Dream campaign. And we've already had a good amount of conversations in 2025. We curbed those conversations here in May to build out this cohort so that we can be more intentional about creating value for people. And we know our origin story is bringing real estate and cooperative ownership for everyone. So that's kind of a summary as far as like just to reiterate what the vision is for this particular cohort. So getting back to the agenda tab. So finalize email, and this is on the deliverables tab here. And I'm going to just grab a link, copy link, and throw this in here to make it easy for navigation. Boom, deliverables. So we had a follow-up conversation. Tyler and I are regional chairs with Fibery.org. And we're planning to use providing exclusive access here this during onboarding cohort peers into this. And we had a conversation with Christina, who, looking at the Fibery Associates, this is where she sits on the board. Christina is in Portugal, I believe in Lisbon, and that conversation went well. So one of the things that we need to get to her here is our review. So this is something, did you want me to just accept your comments here? Do you want to walk us through this, Tyler?
I think they're pretty self-explanatory, but mostly it's, I just want to emphasize that it's global, it's time sensitive. One of the questions that came up was when people were saying, are you just going to teach people how to use tools that are already there, and are you going to sign them up for a bunch of subscriptions? And we said, no, we're going to actually provide you with the software that you need. And if there are some additional add-ons that you want to buy, fine, but that's not what we're doing. Most of the stuff I think is pretty self-explanatory as far as what we're doing. I also want to emphasize there's hopefully a networking component. I've done a lot of leadership programs and training programs over the years, and the best ones by far have been the ones that had really intensive, actionable training, and then also a lot of collaboration and networking. The relationships I get have been really valuable. The other thing was on the time zones. Here's going on that for a minute.
I'm gonna say let's just take this out, because the goal of the email is to get people to register for the webinar, and having too much details in the email. So my vote is just to take the logistics out.
Okay, that's fine.
That they're going to be contributing to actually helping build the tool that they want.
Say again, Zippity.
Do they understand that they're actually contributing to the tool that they want?
That's one of the things that I think that we're going to do a great job making that very clear. And this is something that so that's one of the things that we're going to make an effort to be very clear, because like I have no problem very clearly stating that the main goal from my perspective is to create re.box, this AI agency for real estate. And what re.box looks like in June of 2025, I assure you, is going to be very different than what re.box looks like after 4 months, because we're building a dev team. This is something that we're also going to be investing capital in, and people here. Like I'm not sure how much that we're going to slice the value wheel that from the 497 to actually build re.box, but the big value is that the people in here, and this is something, let's actually let's deviate real quick to our slide deck. So because again, the goal of the email isn't to unpack all of the details. The goal of the email is to get them to register for a webinar. And let me actually just do a screen share or bring up the calendar here, because we've already got the dates on placeholders on our 3Win DAO Google Calendar. This is something that we've got as an action item, Tyler and I, to get these dates, because like one of the asks that we had from Christina is to create a LinkedIn event. So that was some solid feedback, because I wasn't planning to create a LinkedIn event, but that makes it easier with the existing audience that people have within their network on LinkedIn. And that's one of the things that call to action real quick. I'm going to deviate real quick and go to our link tree for WeOwn.Academy. And let me just open this here. So if you're not on our following WeOwn.Academy, follow right now here, WeOwn.Academy. Please follow our company page on LinkedIn. So love LinkedIn. It's unquestionably the top business networking site. What I think over 1 billion users. Tyler and I are both paying money to LinkedIn for the value that we're getting out of here. So this is an action item that we have that I'm actually going to add real quick to our agenda is create, and I'm gonna not even do it here. I'm gonna do it on the deliverables. Let me make sure here. Let's see. Create the Luma events. Create the events. The events, and let me indent this where we've got Luma, and I'm gonna make this a checklist here. Luma on Yonk's team calendar, LinkedIn, Eventbrite. I think that that's good enough. And we can take off the what that looks like for the Eventbrite. But going back to the calendar here real quick. So we're planning to host the first webinar here using this pitch deck in less than 12 hours. So, and this, we're largely positioning Thursday as a live run to really refine, and who knows, people might show up, but this is going to be an iterative process. But anyway, let me go into slideshow mode because this is something that we were wanting to finalize. Did we actually make any changes based upon the comments that we made, Tyler?
I thought it was pretty thorough the way it was written, but yeah, Christina just really wanted to make sure that we had something thorough enough that
Yeah, and I mean, to be completely clear, I would have no problem pitching this in tomorrow in less than 12 hours. So anyway, slideshow mode, let's go. And this is just a testament to how fabulous that this tool is, but let's see. My computer is not liking the presentation mode. Not sure why that is. Let me try it in a different browser. Share. Okay, so let me try it in this browser. Maybe I'm choking out resources on my computer here. Closing some windows. Can you load it, Tyler?
So is the idea, hey, you guys tell us what tool you think would be the most valuable for you to use, and we'll help you build it.
No. So most people here in 2025 are asking the question how to use AI. And the tool that we're going to be building is an AI agency model with re.box. Most people aren't even understanding what an AI agent is. There's so much confusion around what that even means because most people are thinking about using ChatGPT. ChatGPT is currently the predominant tool for using AI. So, like talking about here, let's actually go to this. We talked about this the other night. This blog post is something that we have a $500 reward on, and I'm actually going to do a save name current version discussed during working group number 18. So this is something that I did a very simple Google search, AI real estate. And then I put in this screenshot here because this is some valuable information because we know how much information that Google has. People also ask, how is AI used in real estate? Which I put here as a question that we should answer within this blog post. Will AI replace realtors? And then another question, is Zillow using AI? I don't care about unpacking that for obvious reasons. And then how to use AI to sell a house. So this is something that we're going to be asking or answering these questions. How is AI used in real estate? So that's something that people are already asking. Google tells us very clearly that people are asking this question. We want to answer all three of these questions through this peer learning cohort and guide people through the process where the goal, and this is with Story Brand, the goal is to make people, the cohort peers, the heroes in this. And the way that they're the heroes is that, like, let's just be honest with like the other value proposition. And I'm going to bounce back over here to goals and FAQs, like thoughts, benefits, etc. So create new deal flow pipeline for real estate professionals, the American Dream Campaign. The only people that are going to have access to do the American Dream Campaign are the people that are going to be participating in this cohort. Like here in Colorado with the average price, $500,000. If somebody sells one new home in 1 year using the American Dream, that like they can say, hey, I sold this house because of the American Dream Campaign, that's going to be like a 10x return out of their investment of $497 a week in or a $497 a month into this peer learning cohort. So that's another value proposition, not even related to the AI agency model that we're going to be creating.
Okay.
Come on, slideshow. Let's go here. Anyway, maybe I should just go through it here. This is good enough. Fit. Not sure why preview is not working. Agenda, that just breaks it down. What is AI for real estate cohort? Peer learning cohort, virtual slot, virtual recorded sessions. This is a technology solution that we need to figure out. I don't know what that's going to look like as far as making these recorded sessions replayable. That's something that we need to figure out here within the next week or two, at least next week to 3 weeks, quite honestly. I believe that that's not a problem. So understanding peer learning cohorts, and I made a comment here, collapse this into slide 3, whether we do that. Weekly time commitment, 2 1-hour weekly sessions, attend 2 live Zoom sessions each week, likely on Tuesday and Friday mornings, to engage with course content and peers, optional office hours. Join informal sessions for QA, insider podcast access, flexible participation, cohort completion rewards. This is something that I wanted to clean up. This is where we're really looking to make this a no-brainer value proposition for people. And I feel like I've got it a little more clear over here in the benefits. Let me see where it's at. Is it in the deliverables? Let's see. Search. We own. Okay, this is in the FAQs on the goals and FAQs. What do I get upon cohort completion? Cohort peers with 75% participation, i.e. 24 of the 32 of the 2 weekly Zoom sessions, plus feedback loops, i.e. harmonica, pools. I don't even know what pools is. What is pools? I'm just going to put harmonica.chat here since we're planning to use that now. So harmonica.chat. Facilitated.
About that. Is that kind of like what we've been using, like Telegram or something, or no?
Harmonica.chat?
Uh-huh.
No. So great question. Harmonica.chat is a virtual facilitator. and it's more chat like as in chat bot. And this is something that we're going to be like instead because like one of the things that we had on our deliverables tab down here, and this is where oh, deliverables. So feedback form. And let me actually add here feedback form discussed again during our working group. Currently planning to use harmonica.chat for obtaining these feedback discussed during working group number 18. So yeah, harmonica.chat. And I haven't set up Harmonica. This will be the first time using it. We did get one of the core team members from Harmonica chat in our WeOwn dev side chat. And then I have a fellow DAO friend Triggs, and shout out to you, Triggs. Thank you. Looking forward to collaborating with this peer learning cohort and making this process easier for us to really make use of harmonica.chat. And this just amplifies our commitment to taking a people first approach instead of a technology first approach. And this is something that Harmonica is going to help us really provide a custom cohort for the peers of this cohort. Like me, as a not an open AI chat GPT fan, I actually will go on the record and say that I refuse to use chat GPT. I'm not going to unpack all of the philosophical reasons that I do that, but as an open source fan, the fact that OpenAI is behind chat GPT just makes my skin and the blood boil a little bit. But anyway, so that's where, but I can also appreciate that like Tyler uses ChatGPT. Do I say anything negatively to Tyler about using ChatGPT? No. And she's done some great things like correct me if I'm wrong, but wasn't this email drafted using ChatGPT, Tyler?
Yeah, and most of our bylaws and other basic things that are just general templates to get us started are ChatGPT. One of my challenges of using other software that I actually think is more ethical is that the results are not anywhere as good. So part of the same problem I have with Google is I want to use DuckDuckGo, I want to use other stuff, but then it just doesn't work as well. So
And
maybe
that's important. But anyway, I think I heard somebody else chiming in there.
I agree. I agree. I use it every day, but I use it for different reasons and fixing things. And I mean, I'm trying to think about how best to utilize it for what we're trying to accomplish with these guys. Because I have a feeling it's going to go in phases.
When you say go in phases, what do you mean by that?
Well, you gotta introduce them and how to actually work with the tool, how to talk to an AI agent in order to get the answer that you're looking for, how to do.
Well, potentially, and this is where we're going to be like we can pontificate all day long as far as, but this is one of the big hopes that I have around onboarding people into this cohort is that we will really be able to understand and architect the curriculum that gives the most value. Because I assure you that this 16-week, this 4-month cohort isn't going to be talking about how to use Chat GPT.
No, no, it's not
So
how, well, in essence, it's how to communicate with a virtual agent.
no, not at all, because the big value proposition, the way that we're going to architect re.box is not, you're not going to have to learn prompt engineering. It's going to be a conversation with your AI agency where you can, and this isn't today. This is something, again, the goal of the cohort is to build re.box, this AI agency, and it's going like you're not going to have to learn prompt engineering. Like we put in some fairly decent prompts to get this slide deck created over here because like we've gotten decently good, and quite honestly, most of it was copy and paste. And let's just actually go to so this is exactly what we put in the prompt for getting this slide deck created here. And this is because we had well-formatted FAQs, and like it was literally mostly copy and paste, and then we were throwing some errors, and then I had to clean up the prompt. But this is what we input to create this slide deck over here. So, and whether that will change for AI agency, that's really the goal. Because not going to unpack the vision because we haven't built re.bot yet, but the idea of having like the goal of this isn't to like learn prompt engineering, because the AI agency is going to abstract away a lot of that. And like when you go back to one of the things that we're going to be structuring here, one of the big benefits is new deal flow. Like one of the things that I'm really aspiring to is, and this is something that we're going to be building this with Tyler, the licensed real estate professional on Yonk's team, to get results for her. And this is something, like just to put some numbers behind things, like how many houses did you close, Tyler, in 2024?
None. I haven't done anything yet.
Yeah, so when we start creating this new pipeline and you're like, "Hey, I closed whatever the number is," and because I'm not going to unpack all of that because that's like me breaking out the crystal ball here, and I don't want to put forward any unsubstantiated results, but that's the goal here
Well,
is to go ahead,
here,
Tyler.
so there's a couple of things. One is, as a newer realtor, it is emotionally extremely hard when I've had a half dozen friends within the last couple of months all tell me that they're selling and buying, and none of them considered using me. And part of me is I was like, oh man, that's terrible, that's crushing. And then I thought, but I haven't sold enough houses to justify handling somebody's, multi-$100,000 transaction. Like I wouldn't pick a brand new person either. But one of the things I'm realizing is that when you develop expertise in a specific area that they don't have, then it's much easier to justify using you. So when you're saying things like we're going to cut through the noise, you're not counting on my expertise only. You're counting on this entire team of AI agents behind me to um, cut through a lot of the noise. It's much easier to position yourself as an expert. Now you're functionally only competing with other people in your market who also have that expertise. You're not competing with 1,000 other people who just happen to have a real estate license. I think that's the big value proposition, is to say by far the number one need for most realtors is lead gen, and the number two thing is client database management, keeping in touch and whatever, and then everything after that is going to be how you generate the first two. When you're really an expert, um, it just makes it very easy to pick you, and it's demonstrably that you don't have to actually be the true expert in every single area. You just need to know how to run your AI agency so that it generates the expertise for you.
Yeah. I mean, you're training an LLM basically in some sort of the sense, to
It's
get
It's
abstract.
not, it's not that's actually not it. We're actually going to be deploying AI agents in a cloud infrastructure container for the benefit of, because like it's very different, and that's the big technology evolution with AI agents, is that they have a memory component. And when you're just interacting with Chat GPT, there's not that memory component. And this is the big value proposition of the AI agency model, is that
No,
these AI.
no, you're wrong about that. I could talk to Chat GPT and it remembers something that I talked to it about a month ago.
Right, but you can't export that dynamic to another environment that you own.
Okay, well, I missed that part. I don't understand. Like export it to what necessarily?
So we're going to be creating a the AI agency that we're talking about, like re.box, is basically going to be an a cloud environment for an individual or their small real estate business that they will own, and there will be multiple Docker containers in that that are AI agents that have different roles within the agency environment that we architect.
So are you trying to get all the answers collaborative between all the agents? Is that what you're doing?
Yeah, so when you think about like agency in this context is the orchestration of AI agents that are going to exist within their cloud environment that we're going to be deploying for their benefit.
All right. So the AI agent ultimately thinks that it's working with a team of real estate brokers.
Not a team of real estate brokers. And that now there may be like if you imagine a realty brokerage firm, and different teams have different environments as far as what they're looking to do. But let's just talk about like through the lens of a solo real estate agent, because this is we're really wanting and aspiring to deploy this for an individual's benefit. Now, will real estate agencies eventually use re.box? Absolutely. But we're largely anticipating most of this is going to be deployed for the benefit of like solo realtors for their own benefit, like Tyler. And on our roadmap, like we're absolutely We Own Realty is a website that we own within our ecosystem. But yeah, like we're going to be deploying a Yonks Team AI agency for the benefit of Yonks Team Ventures. And one of the things that we're going to be doing is building this new pipeline and deal flow with the American Dream campaign. And that's going to be like when you think about reducing dev cycles, that's one of the things that we're absolutely putting as a deliverable within our main goals and benefits is that they will have new deal flow with this American Dream campaign. I'm not going to unpack all of that right now and want to be respectful of everybody's time. We've done a good job going through here. We didn't get to the launch kit, but I mean, I can keep on going here if you all want, or we can give this a wrap. I'm going to either way keep on grinding here on getting things done tonight.
I have a question though.
Sure.
Will this will my AI and your AI and Mike's AI, will they be talking to each other to make sure everything flows well?
No, because we're going to architect an ecosystem super agent, and that's one of the things. Like, I'm not going to unpack what it's going to look like because, like, this is very experimental. But like, for example, We Own Dev is going to be a dev shop for our ecosystem because most people don't need dev work done on a consistent basis, but we get scale with our AI agency model, the opportunity for them to say, hey, I need this done, and then their AI agency goes to engage with the We Own Dev AI agency to get this dev work done. That's kind of the vision of but no, we're really wanting to keep this where the information in your own AI agency is something that you own that data in your own AI agency.
Yeah, but why wouldn't it benefit another broker to say, hey, I'm going to take someone at this to show them this property and and that AI agent could be like, oh yeah, another realtor, had gone by, looked at it, and here are some notes that they contributed on the property, so on and so forth.
They can't do that due to confidentiality purposes. And correct me if I'm wrong, but like there's not really any notes that can be shared from one viewing experience to another viewing experience.
Hmm.
So I have a
So,
question.
are you talking about in the MLS or just within the AI agent?
I think that's a question for you, Zippity.
Well, I think it's like, you know, um,
Well,
I know these people that are brokers. They went out and took a look at such and such's house, and there were a few issues. It's just like talking about a rumor or hearsay that oh, I heard that there was this about this house or that about that house. Uh,
I think that there's a lot of regulations that don't allow that sort of behavior, and that may depend on an MLS system. Because how many MLSs are in Colorado, Tyler?
Like a half dozen. So maybe more. So there's a couple things there in the MLS. There's the public notes, which if you go on Zillow or any of those, and you see like cozy 3 bedroom, blah blah blah, whatever. That is the public notes. If you're a realtor and you go into the MLS, there are usually extra private notes that say things like um, things that realtors are disclosing to each other, but they're not for public use. And I think a better example of this is I used to work in politics in a former life. And one of the things that candidates, especially candidates in primaries, were always concerned about was giving any information to the party. Because they said if we give it to the party and the party has access to all the candidates, my note's going to end up in my primary opponent's hands. And one of the things that we did specifically there was put up firewalls so that um, you controlled who saw it. So it was after your race was over and didn't matter anymore. You could release the notes into what was basically the super agent of the party. And if you wanted to not release it in there, then you just didn't. So it was really firewalled off. You were, as the owner of the information, very much in control of what system ultimately got access to it. And we had the controls set so that if you said no, we could just never see it. That we didn't have an override on the back end to say, just kidding, like give it to us anyway. So
well,
that's what I'm imagining this would look like, is to say, if you want to release it into the public, fine. If you don't, fine. But the default will be that that setting is off.
yeah, I could see where there could be a conflict of interest. Like, hey, you can't, talk shit about this piece of property to gain the interest of another party that you want to really sell it to, right? Um, there's some I
Well,
think
there, yeah,
Well,
but
and
on the flip side,
hold on. Let me chime in here. And this is one of the broken things about the existing MLS systems, because there's not one. It's a framework of very proprietary. Uh, so there's no standards. There are some standards, but that's one of the things that is evolving very quickly, especially with the proliferation with platforms like Zillow and Redfin. And this is where, like, you think about having inventory, like, because a listing is inventory, and Compass, which is one of the top 10 global brokerages, is increasingly not even listing their properties on the MLS system, where they're more creating a closed garden walled environment. And that's way out of scope of this conversation, because there's so much opportunity to bring technology, using on-chain technology, that breaks the necessity for all of these proprietary. Because, like, how much does it cost normally to access these MLS systems on like $50, $100 a month, or hundreds of dollars a month, or whatever, Tyler?
yeah. I mean, it's so
well, I think
yeah.
you get in trouble for not disclosing something too,
Well,
right?
so there's two
Well,
things in real estate.
so
There are things that you are legally required to disclose to the other party. Like if you have a good faith reason to understand that a buyer cannot honor their commitment in the contract that they're signing, you have to disclose that. Better, you just not sign the contract. Or if you know that there's a material defect as a seller that they're not saying, you have to disclose that anyway. But there's other things that you um, there's stuff that you have to disclose to the other party in contract negotiation where you don't necessarily have to disclose it to the general public. So if somebody says, hey, I know that this guy um, is not quite being on the up and up, but you're not going to necessarily throw that out to the public. But when it gets time to close the deal, you have to tell the other party that. So there's some stuff that's just you don't necessarily want to do for marketing, and there's absolutely stuff that you have to disclose up front. So it's more of a um, what would you throw into the pool for everybody to see? Like a perfect example is your seller is getting a divorce and they're pretty desperate to make a sale. You would never disclose that. Like you could lose your license for that. Whereas saying things like, this guy's advertising that he has a half an acre, but we had it surveyed and he's only on a quarter of an acre. That's something that you could throw into the world about a certain property, and it's fine because
Right.
you know what I mean.
There's a
And
term for it.
and
Yeah.
I've got on the screen here realreports.ai, and this is like one of the things that's going to happen is the MLS systems are going to get wrecked by technology, and not going to unpack all of that here, but like uh realreports.ai, this is a project that we've been following for a while. We've already had side conversations with the co-founder there, and this will likely be, hopefully be, a future live stream podcast, WeOwn.fm, and I just put that in there. I don't even think that there's anything at WeOwn.fm right now, but I need to it is parked on the bun. So this is yet another WeOwn brand. Our podcast, WeOwn.fm, is going to be launching here in tandem with AI for real estate. And this is another thing that I'm personally going to be using AI to really refine the production dynamics around the live stream and podcast format. Love live streaming. Like, the thing that I don't like about podcasting is the additional efforts that have to be done to create a nice published and syndicated podcast. But this is something that we will do. And hit me up on if you've got a project around AI for real estate that we should feature in here. But realreports.ai is definitely one, because like the other value proposition, when you think about like the one of the underlying goals with our ecosystem is transitioning a real estate asset to a tokenized real estate asset. And we're absolutely going to be using AI to find the properties that we want to put in a portfolio. Talking about a portfolio, WeOwn.Capital is our 6 pillars that we're creating to capitalize real estate. And as we have said, we're going to be creating here these financial mechanisms in the next 12 to 18 months that will allow us to onboard through these various mechanisms 50 to $100 million of capital. And this is why that we're being so intentional about bringing AI, because that's the only way that we're going to have effective scale, is because anyway, I could talk about that all day. We're already 12 minutes past the hour here. Do we want to do anything with Launch Kit right now, or should we bring it to a wrap?
It's already pretty late. It's definitely late for Lotus, so let's just wrap it up.
Yeah. Let's wrap. I gotta eat. Yeah, but it gave me some good ideas for next combo.
Good. Well, let me take a look here, because I don't have any upcoming things scheduled. Let me go to our events calendar here on Luma, because one that I do want to talk about is not even on here. I think it's actually on WeOwn.Network, and this is one that I'm very excited to facilitate a conversation with unicorn.eth. And this is coming up here in less than 12 hours. And let me throw a link in here for this tools deep dive. And this is something that I haven't really amplified yet, and going to do that now through our live stream. But RSVP for this, unicorn.eth. Let me actually go to unicorn.eth in my Brave browser, which redirects to my Unicorn account. And I'm going to throw this in here for that. This is something that we've got a side conversation with the core team at Unicorn, and we're working on getting that set up for our ecosystem at WeOwn.app. And hopefully that'll be online, because we're really planning to incorporate this from an account abstraction standpoint. That's something that we like. We all know the pain points around the seed phrase, and this is one of the things that abstracts away the necessity for people doing a seed phrase and getting utility, on-chain utility. But anyway, that conversation is tomorrow. Looking forward to that. And this is something that looking forward to really working with the team to build and just make it easy for us to onboard people into our ecosystem. But anyway, I'm going to stop the share and let you all chime in some closing thoughts before we bring Working Group 18 for AI for Real Estate by WeOwn.Academy to a close.
Have a good night, everyone.
Thank you.